rise, please, for a short prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we again reach out to you for help. Grant us strength, faith, and a willingness to always make the proper, correct decisions to benefit all of our village residents. We are asking your help in blessing and protecting West Virginia residents, but we are concerned especially for all of our Bethlehem families. Thanks be to God for all you do for us. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Matt, call the roll, please.
Councilman Otten,
Here.
Councilman Bishop,
Here.
Councilman Herschuk,
Here.
Councilman Henry,
Here.
Mayor Junkins,
Here.
Councilman Sassine. Here. Recorder Sassine. Here. Councilman Snyder. Here. Councilman Wisner.
Here.
Okay, does everybody have a copy of the July 19, 2021 minutes before them? And if they do, I would entertain a motion that we approve the July 19 minutes as presented.
So moved. Second.
Okay, the motion made and second. Is there any question on the motion? If there be no question on the motion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried.
Abstain, Matt, I wasn't here.
Sounds good, Tony. Thank you.
If poor Tommy, he was out working.
Yeah.
We're gonna have fun.
Okay, back to you, Matt.
Okay.
Recorder's report.
The next council meeting will be held on Monday, August 16th, 2021 at 8 p.m. here at the village office. And if you are attending tonight's meeting as a guest and you intend on voicing your opinion about a matter, please do sign in by printing your first and last name, along with your address. Thank you.
Alrighty, okay, accountant's report. Do you have anything you want to report at this time, Jamie?
No, I did want to update you that the portal that all the information had to be submitted through for the CARES Act money, that I did make that submission last week. They did not give any updates as far as when that money would come through, but I have got the required paperwork and I'm just waiting on response from them.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I have a few things on before council under the mayor's report. Sort of a recap of activities here in the past 2 weeks. On Tuesday, July 20th, we had a water break on Birch Lane. It took extra time to repair this old steel line because it was a longer break in the pipe itself. This area is on the planning board for replacement with PVC pipe. And then on Wednesday, July 21, next day, we had another water break on Birch Lane just ahead of the previous break. This old steel pipe was leaking in 2 separate places. Also, the steel piping will be replaced here once we get it off the drawing board and on the planning board. Then Thursday, July 22nd, we had another water break, which was on 222 Chapel Road at the entrance of Emerson Avenue. That's on the backside. You go into Bach Lane. This is on the backside as you come out. Basically, our crew was notified around 8 o'clock at night, and they started around 10 p.m. The break was on the 8-inch water line, and it took a long time to locate this leak because at this point, an area in the ditch, there was a main distribution gas line that crossed on top of our water line. there's a line that comes up evidently from 29th Street. And when I saw the size of that line, I said, oh, that's got to be like a 20-inch line. But I was told, no, it's not quite 20. It might be 16. And this is the first time in a pit that I've seen a gas line on top of ours. Normally we run parallel, but this was on top. Okay, well, by daylight, because the crew had worked their regular 8 hours on Thursday, and they no more got home and then came out a couple hours later, by daylight on Friday morning, they were tired, they were fatigued, they were sleeping on the shovel basically. So what I did, I got a hold of HP Excavating, who was familiar with our work, and they had 4 guys, and they finished the job for us. And they did a good job, and they left the ground in neat order. Then the next day when I was down there, went by there, I was going out that direction, the gas company was there, and they had our pit all dug up again, and I think they relocated the line. I didn't see when they had to, because they were there 2 days, so hopefully that problem's resolved itself. On Thursday, July 22nd, Alberta had a board meeting which I could not attend. However, one major subject discussed and acted upon was a matter of interlining bus service with Steubenville's transit system. The Alberta team has been meeting with the Steubenville team and wanted to connect Alberta's system in Raylan, Ohio, beginning October 11, 2021. This would enable both Wheeling and Steubenville passengers to travel into each other's towns. A memo of understanding will be signed shortly so that the 2 transit systems can interline. Then on July 27, Tuesday, the village street crew replaced the fire hydrant located at 146 Ridgecrest Road. Now we still have several more hydrants to be replaced and would be going one at a time. On Wednesday, July 28th, the village street crew started pothole patching with the hot patch. We started on Poplar Lane. We have a lot more patching to do throughout the village, such as potholes, water diverters, redo the water break patch holes to bring these up to grade, and also the patches on the state roads up to state specifications. Like on the state road, we have to dig out what we have in there, put 6 inches of concrete in and 2 inches of asphalt on top of that. Well, those bellies that we had there, they were kind of causing concerns, and so we went back and just asphalt those until we can get back and address the patches on the proper way. Also, we need to replace asphalt curbs that were altered or hit with the village's snowplow during this past winter. I want to mention that Herb Electric, they were back here to the park, and they installed our new LED lights plus the timer, and the currently hours on the timer are 8 to 10, and that can be adjusted as daylight goes on. Also, I had a conversation with Caston Baker. That's the paving contractor that's going to be doing our paving, and that will be in September as we requested. I've been back and forth on the phone with him a couple of times, and everything's basically in place, and we have to get paperwork back and forth, and that's in the process. Herb, at the same time that they were going to do the light, I asked them if they would replace one of our high bay lights in the garage. We've got 4 of them up here, and there's one that's out. And the fact that they had the bucket truck up here, this would be an ideal time for them to change that in the garage. Also, they haven't done that yet, but that's on their worksheet now. Also, in our Westgate Sanitary Sewer Lift Station, Herb has been helping us there. What we've had to do is order parts from Trumbull with the manufacturer of the station that's there, because the floats, evidently there's something wrong with them, and as soon as the floats come in here, then they'll install them for us. This is something that our crew is not able to contend with. Tonight, under the solicitor's report, T.C. McCarthy will update council and explain the ordinances addressing the village's new water and sewer rate and charges that will be discussed and acted upon. So, under your report, you can do that. Committee reports are next.
Don, can I interrupt you? I have a question about the asphalt they did on Maple Lane. Do we not have a roller?
We have a roller, but it's a very small one.
Oh,
Is there something on Maple, wait a minute,
they patched that big
Oh, okay.
water line,
Okay.
and they put the asphalt in, but I don't think they rolled it.
okay.
That's all.
I
I didn't know if we had a
I
roller.
did see another spot down on Poplar Lane the same way. They had put it in, it looked like you were only half of it.
Yeah.
That's on my list, I'll get back into. Okay. What else is there? Okay. I skipped other officers' report. First, we want to go to the TC. You want to report something now, or do you want to do your water and sewer under new business?
I'll do it under new business.
Okay, okay. Also, the police chief's report, should all had a copy tonight. It's on your, we didn't get it to press soon enough to get it in your council bag, but it's on your table. Okay, now we go to the committee reports. Parks and Recreation, Aaron?
This week at some point, I don't have an exact date set, I'll be meeting with Aaron in the office, and we'll be going around to the different parks in the village, making some punch lists, working on some things, get things ready for the winter and everything like that.
Okay.
Make sure everything's up and going. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Bobby, police report?
Just one question, we out of cruisers again?
Did we what?
Are we out of police cars again?
Not out of them, it's just right now, we've had some tire problems. And actually, the 2019, just to recap on some, one of the 2019 Charger, it had a nail in the side wall. They had it taken down the tire place, they couldn't patch it, so what they had to do is order a new tire to match the others that are on there, because you gotta keep them the same. And what's on there right now is a spare. Now, the 2009 Ford Crown Vic, I've had some problems with that, and I think I got to the bottom of it. It's right down now. It's down at American Tire, and I expect it back tomorrow. So, but you know, people have to be, you know, more cognizant now. How did a nail get in the side wall of the tire? I mean, there was something going along with the Ford too, that there was some abuse there. And I had several different people look at it, and that's how I made my determination.
Are we still looking to a new cruiser?
Right now, I might as well mention this, it was in the paper not too long ago. I've been working with the High County Commission for over a year, and I've been promised 3 cruisers, 2 cruisers and a Tahoe. And I don't know where the paperwork is, I'm gonna almost have to get down there and find out, but they've supposedly signed over, and this was in the paper, and I don't, you should have seen it, because I think we had that in the stuff we sent around. I can't tell you how long it is, but no, I was gonna order a new one, but when we were gonna get these others, I thought it wasn't necessary. So I don't know, maybe we're gonna have to revisit that, but I don't know where it is. We've been promised it, and because there's been changes down there at the commission, I don't know if somebody,
They've been promising us vehicles for 15 years.
well, you know.
We could have had 3 new cruisers by now.
That's the thing, I mean, this is a year into my first term, and we were talking about a new cruiser, saying it would take 7 months, we could have had one by now.
Yeah, we could have.
Instead, we got a 2009 Crown Vic that's caused us nothing but issues.
Well, it'll be fine when we get it back now, but there's.
Well, it's been fine 3 times since we've got
Yeah,
it back.
well, that's fine, but we've gotta maintain things, and that's why I'm on top of those things, Aaron.
Thank you, that's all. That's
Yeah,
all.
but, no, as far as a new cruiser, why should we have, you know, half a dozen cruisers? I don't like to spend the money if I don't have to for
Because
this.
we don't have
But when
one
somebody
yet.
tells you, and you're talking to, supposedly, certain people and everything, they tell you they're gonna do that, and they don't, I don't know, there's something going on, and that's all I have to, and I'll find out, and I'll report back to you people. Roads and streets, Tommy and Steve, I think I might have covered the Stoward Fund, but I have been talking to Cass and Baker about,
I got one thing. Me and Steve went around for a good bit yesterday and looked at different roads, different residents' concerns, water, roads. But one thing we did notice is I think we need to get on that sealing. If we're going to decide to seal these roads, that at least some of them, or however much money we got to do it, it is August, you know,
Well,
so
do
we
too.
probably ought to come
I'll
up
make a list of the ones that you feel is gonna need sealed.
We can
You
put
could
them,
go wild with that stuff, you just
You
start
can.
down the road. If you notice a lot of roads, it looks like somebody was drunk or something and went every which way.
when we looked at them, we didn't actually put them in order yesterday.
Okay.
But we did realize that you could do them all the new roads probably, but we have to come up with some kind of list and prioritize which ones, maybe do some this year, do some next year, so we can get them done. But it seems like it really does, in the past, save in roads. It keeps that water from getting in there and freezing.
It speaks for itself, it has done a lot of saving,
I
extends
just
the life
didn't
of
want
the
it to
roads.
get past, too late in the year where we couldn't get,
Yeah, well, we're in the hot weather now, if we could get somebody lined up, that'll be good.
part way up.
Do we typically use a certain company to do that, or?
There's a couple that do it. I forget who we used last time. Yeah,
It's a bid process, okay.
Yeah.
And there seems there's some
Last one
new
did a great job.
players in place too.
Yeah, Lawson did a great job.
I did.
Yeah, they did.
Alright.
I forget who it was.
VHV.
But that's
Yeah,
it.
that's what it
Yeah, they
was.
really did a good job last
Yeah,
time.
they did. We spent a good bit of money last
Yeah.
time it was done.
That was
It's been a
worthwhile.
number of years. You know.
It does save the road.
Oh, yeah.
4 years. It's been 4 years.
Well, I tell you what, to be honest about it, I don't have paperwork.
Yeah.
Last time I looked, I have paperwork, it goes back to 2014.
Well, we did it when I was here, so
Well, I'd appreciate a copy of that, for the roads we did, so we can also have
we
it.
would have it.
Okay, well,
It would be here in the office.
okay, well,
Yeah. Yeah, we
someone
do.
help out, give us the updated ones,
Yeah.
or updated however the list was, because it's
They did a lot of roads last time.
$29,000 worth in 2014.
Oh, we did it after that, so.
So I'd like to have that copy of,
Did you do some sealing in your time? Tim?
Yeah, we did.
Where would the paperwork be?
It would be in the files. So what'd you say, what
EHV.
VHV
Yeah,
would be?
VHV, that's one of the
Yeah,
outfits we
they
use.
should be in the file.
In fact, I've recommended it to some people, residents that asked for
Yeah.
it. See-
The girls should have it.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I didn't know.
Every
it was-
file I ever had stayed in this office, so.
Okay, what,
Yeah.
the VHV is a company that we used years ago, and there's other new ones now too, but they seem to be and there was another one that was very good, but he's no longer in business, he did a good job for us.
Yeah, we'll get back out there and get
Okay.
a prioritized
Good.
list so we know where we're at with it. But
Okay, next, Mark, zoning?
Nothing this evening,
Okay.
Mayor.
And Ben, I don't see Ben here tonight, okay.
Water and sewer.
Is there anything under
Can we-
old business?
Can we do water sewer? I got a question. on
I'm
water sewer.
sorry,
That's like 3 meetings in a row now, and I'm starting to get a complex.
I'm sorry.
With the replacement on Birch, are we looking into whether or not it's more cost effective to tie them into the line that we just replaced 6 years ago, rather than replace a whole new section that goes the other way? Could we just tie those 3 or 4 residents into the line, the PVC line that was replaced 6 years ago?
I think it would behoove us to get rid of that steel one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Get rid of it. Don't even replace it. Just shut it off
Yeah.
and
that-
tie those people into
Yeah.
the one that was already replaced.
That's probably what we'll end up doing, but
Okay.
that steel pipe, anywhere there's
Yeah,
steel
get rid of
pipe,
it.
we need to take it
Get
out.
rid of
There's
it.
another
Yep.
section on 29th Street.
Mhm.
And that's the time it broke at nighttime, and then we had to go to get the plumbing
Right.
stop to open up because we didn't have the proper fittings.
And has anything changed with any adjustment to the tower or any adjustment to the pumps from Wheeling? Because it seems like you get a lot less breaks in the summertime, but right now,
We shouldn't have any breaks in the summertime, basically.
right, we
because
never
the ground
used.
doesn't move.
Is there anything that changed?
I don't know, we're kind of looking into that. There's gotta be something that's causing this. And what it does, it seems to give it out at the weakest point. Just like the last one on Ridgecrest out there, and that took a while to find it, but there were 2 issues. There were bolts that vibrated
Yeah, I remember we
loose.
talked about that.
Yeah, and then the other one was the service line.
But if
Yeah.
we can look into something, did we
Yeah.
change a setting on the tower? Did we change a setting on the pump that pumps from Wheeling? Something's got to be different there
Yeah. Well,
that's causing this, because that's very,
unusual.
yes,
Yeah, it is.
to have this many
And
in
it's
the summertime.
concerning too.
Yeah.
Because usually, of course, when we have a break, then the Wheeling shuts the pumps down too, to, take the pressure off the line, so.
Well, they shouldn't do that.
with the exception of Birch, that thing's probably just falling apart.
Yeah, they shouldn't shut the pumps down.
Well, they usually back them down though.
Well, that might be causing the problem, because you've got, when you lower the pump down, the water level in the pipe goes down, and then you re-energize it real quick.
Well, they don't usually, well, when they bleed out the
Right, but you've done it at 2 valves, so if I have the water break on Birch, I shut down Birch and I shut down this end of Birch. I fix my break, the rest of the pressure in the village is staying the same. But if Wheeling is shutting their pumps down, then it affects all the pressure throughout the whole village. And so then the whole village then gets repressurized at the same time, it's gonna pop a lot more lines.
Yeah, well, I think the time they did it was the last one out here on Chapel Road,
Okay.
on the 80th yard coming up, so.
Okay. That was my only question, I'm sorry.
Well, I'll get with Ben again on that. Okay, did I get everybody? I didn't skip anybody again? Okay. Is there any old business that needs to come up before council tonight?
Yes, Dawn.
Okay.
Dawn, yes.
Okay.
The matter we were speaking of, let's see what it's called, the Woodview 2 development.
Okay.
It's come to our attention that you approved it back in 9/8 of 20.
Yeah.
Now, we feel kind of bad that we spoke bad against Mr. Kent because we're normally under the impression that council approves developments. Now, it could
Well,
be
you
that.
consider this a development? I don't think it's a development.
It's 60
becoming-
houses.
It's becoming that.
Are we gonna accept the road and the water line and everything?
I don't know.
Or are we gonna be asked?
I'll have to talk to
I
our
think
engineer.
that, I don't know what determines it, nor whether it's under an ordinance that council has to approve it. We
Well,
asked.
If it's a development, you should.
So he presented a plat plan with 60 houses on it. You don't think that's a development?
I didn't see 60 houses on this
You
one.
approved it.
Approved it, but all I've approved was like those 3 townhouses that he built there.
He submitted a drawing on the 4th of September that had 60 homes on it. It's in the file. It's in what he submitted. There was a drawing. It's right here. There's 60 houses on this drawing.
Okay.
Well,
And
we're
he's-
not
and
here to.
there's a plan for each one of the houses. There's a blueprint drawing for each one of the houses.
Well, it's funny, I haven't seen those so-called blueprints for all these houses and everything. The only thing that I saw
Was the
and that I
3.
had our building inspectors look at was the 3 townhouses there.
Here, Tim, pass these around. These are copies. Mark has a copy.
Well,
It doesn't look
more
like
cons-
anything was signed off on the 60 properties. That was just the future expectations.
Just the 3.
Yeah,
Okay,
just
more
the 3.
concerning is this is the 3rd meeting we spoke about it, and you seem to not even know.
Thank you.
Did you know, or I don't know, I kind of feel bad we were crucifying Roger, and you knew the whole time you approved it 3,
Yeah, the 3, yeah.
but you didn't say anything, or we'd have stopped. I'm just saying, I'm gonna publicly state, or I don't want Roger to think we're a bunch of hounds here.
But you also have to look at Roger too. He's making quite an investment for the village.
Doesn't matter.
Well, I'm just telling
We're
you,
not-
that's his best statement.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay,
So
we're
we're
talking
mistreating-
about paperwork, not what a man's
Rebuilding
spending.
current construction. This is what he's proposed.
We had asked 2 meetings in a row, and you didn't know nothing about it, but
Council has to approve
we
that.
dig into paperwork and you signed off on it. And
I
status
thought-
quo to
Right.
us was council approves developments. That's all I
Tim,
have to
I
say
didn't
about
see
it.
anything.
I'm glad he's doing it, Don. I'm as
Yeah, I
glad
am
as
too.
you are.
Maybe we ought to get you a little bit
So
more
that when he-
involved in these things since you said until you.
Yeah, so he signed a permit.
You abandoned me a long
It's
time
all the
ago when I
accompanying
wanted to get
documents that-
commercial and residential.
Abandon you.
No, no, no.
I organized
Yeah, I
3
didn't
different
see,
levels of building permits, and by the way, this one doesn't qualify, because there's not 2 signatures.
Okay, well then if it doesn't qualify, then
I
why don't
never
you contribute what does qualify?
I never abandon you. You asked me to go look at things and I look at
Yeah,
them.
you did.
And then you go on your own and call me back and tell me what you saw. You forget you even sent me. I don't believe that.
Okay.
Well, okay isn't good enough.
If you want to get involved,
No,
why don't you
I
show
don't
up there
want to get involved.
sometimes in the
We
office
asked
and
a bunch
ask?
of questions that make us look like asses, and you could have just said,
Hey.
I talked about that in September. But you didn't. That's all I said.
Maybe more of you guys got involved. You come to council meetings, you want to get involved.
I don't think you let us do anything, Dawn. We did it for every other mayor.
What do you want to do? What do you want to do about this situation?
Well, it's over
How do you
now.
want to correct it?
It's over now.
What was it, 3
I
or
was
was it
just
6?
apologizing to Roger
Well,
Kent
that's just it,
publicly.
I'm just looking for what was signed off on, and I'm not seeing anything definitive.
That's what I'm not sure about either. It was 3, if it was 6, it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Well, what was signed off on? 3 then, Don?
That's why.
Through the 3 condos.
3, no
right
more.
there. And that's it.
Okay.
That's all that I saw.
All right, great.
That's all I had the building inspector look at, because that's the only thing was going on.
So, if it's not a development, great. I don't know what we
Well, I think
qualify.
it's about to be a development, there are 60 houses.
Okay.
But
Three buildings.
that's, the day I was up there talking to him, the day I was up there with.
It's 6 residences, 3 buildings.
3 buildings, but there's 2 buildings per 1 resident.
That adds up to
Just what we deal with currently.
2.
He has 2 buildings there, and 1 residence occupies both buildings. So you got 3, you got a total 6 buildings, 2 to a family,
Right now,
right now.
6 buildings.
Yeah, and I think he's starting on a new one on
Three.
the other side of there.
3
6
duplexes,
buildings.
is that what it is?
He's confused.
But it's 3 buildings.
There's 3
but
buildings, 2 in each
6,
building.
yeah,
6
occupants.
residences
Yeah.
in 3 buildings is what it is.
6 residents, I was under the impression it was 2, each building, there's 2 buildings there, and 1 resident is occupies the 2 buildings.
No.
And there's
No,
a
no,
total
you got
of
it
6
back.
buildings.
No, that's wrong. There's 1 building
Per-
split in half, 2 residents in each 1 building.
Well, see, I wasn't aware of that.
So there's 6.
Yeah, I don't know if that's how it is yet, if they're occupied yet, but
Yeah, the
that's,
ones that are built
that's
are
how it's
occupied.
gonna be.
Yeah.
It's like a duplex.
Yeah, the ones that are
Well,
built
that's
are
what I
occupied.
thought it was at first when I saw the
3
6
duplexes.
buildings. I thought, boy, there's 6 families, and I was told, no, it's 1 family and 2 buildings.
Unless they was telling you there was only 1 family so
At
far.
the time, yeah.
You know, that could have been said.
So it's vague as to whether it was approved or not, because here it says 3 building current, and then future plans, so
So it's
you
approved.
signed off on,
We signed off on the future plans, it's approved. We cannot go back on Roger and say,
no.
you can't do anything with that lot other than what you've drawn because it's been approved.
His plans do not show the 60 houses.
Yes,
where-
they do.
Well,
Drawing.
how come when we were up there, he's changing things around, he doesn't know, he
Well, he
hasn't
probably
shown
has
us.
changed it.
Because he's
around.
hosing you, that's why.
Because I told him I wanted drawings, just as,
And I think this is part of the communication breakdown. If we, like every time before, correct, guys?
Yeah.
We approved developments on this table, correct? And if that's the way it's supposed to be, that's what we should do.
I would gladly that the council know about this and approve it too.
Well, even with the 6 residents, I believe it qualifies.
I'm not familiar with any of it.
Well, I'm just saying, maybe
I've
we ought to
seen it.
ask you to determine what qualifies as a development. How many residences, how many buildings, how many, whatever you wanna call it. If you could just get that simple answer, we'll know if is it needed to be passed by council. We may not even have to, maybe they just did that. I don't know. But all I know is, for the last 18 years, every single one at this table looked at the projects.
Well, let's back up a little bit. What I approved here was those 3 buildings. Now, he has come down to the office since then, and he's brought this with him. I've never seen this before, okay? And when I was up there, he's moving dirt around and everything, and he couldn't tell me this. But then he just brought this down because I told him which he did. He said he'd come down, and he did. He got this, but he just brought this down. I did not see this before. So what I approved back on the 9th was those 3 buildings,
He
those
said,
condos.
according to him, he says in the notes on the page that he supplied a plat and subcontractors back in September 4th of 2020, which you approved on 9/8/2020.
It also says on 7/9/21 that Roger came in and paid for the first 3 unit building permits.
That's after we questioned it and he called him. You remember at the council meeting when he called him, that he came in, so that's
As
Aaron's
far as
note.
the sequence of paperwork goes,
Did
the way that it
he
was
say
laid out in
he
the
did
file,
this, or did-
this falls after the 7/9/21. If I was to venture to guess, this
This
probably
looks like
came
he
around
wrote
this
this.
time.
Who? No.
No,
Kent, Roger,
who wrote this?
That's Roger.
Rogers.
Right, so are we sure that's right? I mean, we'll go on what he says here, but we don't know if that's right or not.
Yeah, I mean, if Don says that wasn't part of the,
He came down here
Deal.
because he had all his paperwork, and then he brought that down, and that's became part of the girls' files down here.
Not that this is going to solve the past issue, but could I suggest a stamp here in the office that has like a received, or even make them write received on with the date and initial things in the future?
Sure.
So,
Well, we
That's
had,
not gonna solve this,
not
but
this, but
Right.
from now on.
it's,
Yeah.
it's been organized, and it just wasn't done as usual, was the only reason anybody ever questioned it to begin with.
Well, that's because a lot of people aren't coming down. We weren't out there doing something, and we sent the police out, and either bring them down or they'll come down then.
I believe that.
Well, if he would have filled out the proper paperwork requesting the development, you and the clerk would sign off, but a development in the past was done here. And that's why we questioned it.
Okay, well.
That's it. That's the only thing. And you either forgot or whatever that you did give him an approval for the 3 or the 6, whatever it is, because we had been asking at the last 2 meetings. That's all. And I mean, it's okay. You just didn't know at the time, but we
Yeah,
feel like we're
that's-
stumbling over people.
Yeah, but then when that 60 houses, he was talk about building houses and such there, but there was never anything in writing, everything submitted here.
If it's not dated and signed,
Yeah,
it's not valid.
It's a you said, she said, okay.
What we need to do is get it
If we
figured
have
out
an
from now
ordinance,
on.
again, if we have an ordinance, sorry, Tom.
I'm sorry.
If we do have an ordinance, it has to be passed by council. The whole thing's got to stop. If we don't have an ordinance, then we were doing it overkill before, forever.
Are you talking about a plot plan
Yeah,
for a subdivision of a piece of property?
yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Is there something in the ordinance book that says that those have to be approved by council? Can we look?
Yeah, I can look it up.
Yeah, that would be great to know. We may.
And then if, devil's advocate, TC, if it does say that it has to be approved by council, can we go back to Roger and say, council never approved your plan,
No.
you need to halt and,
Well, you redo the plan with the ones he's already built in it.
Yeah, you have to do.
Just like we did for Fred Ladd, or Alan Baker. Just same thing.
For wherever it was.
He changed a lot, and yeah.
And
I mean, they're already
Michael's way.
built.
That was Michael's way.
They're already
Yeah.
built. You know, just, but it'd be nice to know on paper what he's gonna do.
well, any kind of plot plans is usually come before council that I recall.
Yeah.
You know.
But
Okay,
that's
this
why we
wasn't-
asked.
This wasn't a plot plan in my,
Well, I don't know what it is. We have to determine what it is, and
I've never seen it. So,
that's the reason on the last, that
Paperwork
last
together,
meeting,
I mean,
we were up there,
take a look
I
at it.
told him that we needed plans, something in writing to see.
yeah.
And then this thing that I just saw, he came down that day, and I've never seen that one with the 60 houses, or how many houses are there.
if I recall what I reported to you, what he did was a year ago, it was September last year.
Right, we've got that.
that's what the paper says,
paperwork shows
that he submitted everything in September.
3 of them.
That's what he told me.
Copy of that.
3
But he's,
Give me that thing. Give me a copy.
So, Tom, is there a way to define a village
This is
or
already
a
passed out minutes ago.
development?
In fact, there's some.
Well, I'm not gonna go through this now and run.
I know, but just, you know,
Probably, I mean,
Matt,
send
you have
it
that
over to
copy?
some
Yeah,
book
keep
who's
that
been
copy.
involved
I didn't know
in
this
it
was-
and read it. but
TC,
it's
there's
probably
2
fine.
dates on
Yeah,
there.
obviously.
And he also got some, 2 subcontractors building permits there, which is part of that file, which we didn't have before. And then he just come down last week or whenever it was to ante up, so.
And we did question that at AEP because it makes a big difference what we do.
But I don't think he was happy when I told him that day we had a meeting up there with him. Jack Tush was up there with us, and I said what we needed.
We're just going step by step.
got everything you need, TC?
I don't know, is this what you have before you?
Yeah.
Well, we were asking Tom about development, like what constitutes, what's the definition of a development?
It's my recollection, now it's a recollection, asking me to remember something in an ordinance book that's
Yeah.
5 inches thick. My recollection is the division of a parcel of property into more than 2 lots.
More
That's
than
my
2, okay.
recollection.
So that would
I
constitute.
think that's what we've always been. More than 3 lots?
Oh, I see,
No,
division
he's
more
saying
than 2
2,
lots, I got you.
yeah.
I thought it was 3. more than 3 homes in the county needs a plot plan. Because they need to know the supply of water, sewage.
In the county, but I'm not.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know about the county.
yeah.
I'm
Okay,
recalling off my
okay.
head for ours.
Okay, we can get him straightened out.
But what I just looked at, if in fact, you know, Woodview is intending to develop all those lots, then they're gonna need to file a plot plan.
If he contends that he submitted that drawing in September and Don's signature is on it, can that be construed as approval of his plot plan?
That little map is not a
Plot plan.
qualifying plot plan.
That's a
We all-
napkin scribble.
We always need an architect's drawing with sewage drainage and
Yeah, get
sewage and
water.
water and,
Yeah.
Yeah, and that gets recorded
I
down in
mean-
the county
His
then too.
architect is that Cathias?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Is how I pronounce it. So, and he works
Gus.
hand in hand with Tush for everything down, from what he's told me. I
Yeah.
have nothing to
yeah,
do
we're
with
glad
that
to have him.
development.
The order of events was different here and we were totally confused at what was going on.
Well, yeah, I mean, I am too. I'm just reporting back to you what he told me on the phone. I don't have anything to do with this,
I mean, we want it, we want it. We just want it done right.
but I'll, you know, and I can tell you that from my dealings with him, you'll get it done right. This guy's a first-class operation.
Good.
To take one thing off your plate, Don, I'll ask permission to work with Jack Tush to get the proper drawings and get them submitted and everything else, and that can be one less thing that you gotta worry about.
I would appreciate that.
Done.
Yeah.
Done.
No, plots plans are recorded down at the county, and it hasn't been, and you get a sepia from the engineer and everything.
We'll make sure it's all
People sign
straight.
it off on that. That has not been done.
Yep, we'll make sure it's all straight, and I'll take care of it, and happy to do it.
So I'd appreciate the help.
Yep, done. Anything else under old business?
Okay, is there anything that, old business, how about new business?
I have one concern, but I'm willing to wait until the water ordinances, if you wanted to do that first, TC. It's up to you.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Both the water and sewer rate increase ordinance. Along with the ordinance, which I have prepared along with Jamie, as you're aware from the last meeting, making the calculations for the actual water rate increase, the actual sewer rate increase, and so forth. I have also prepared what's the PSC and the state law requires is a notice to customers of the water system of the village of Bethlehem. That's a notice that has to be posted immediately following the first reading of the ordinance tonight, and I've already gone over that with Matt. This has all been delivered to Matt back on, 28th of July. Another document is, it's called a municipal rate change form number 1, public notice of proposed change in municipality rates, and that has to be posted immediately following the first reading tonight. Its notice gets posted in here and out in the bulletin board, so that the public has notice of what's going to take place on the 16th. On the 16th, prior to the council meeting, we will have a public hearing here in the council chambers, and a legal ad giving notice of that public hearing I have prepared both for the water and for the sewer, and I have delivered them to each of the newspapers. It has to be published as a Class 1O advertisement. That's been changed since the last time we did this. And I've got confirmation from the legal ad department of the newspaper that it will be published, and it will be published on August the 5th. Also, I have prepared a Tariff Form 12, which is another public notice of change of rates for municipalities, and that gets posted immediately following the adoption of the ordinance after the 16th. Given notice to the public that we have adopted that rate increase. It will not take effect until 45 days after the 16th of this month, 45 days after the adoption. same time period applies to the sewer also. And I prepared a new item required by the Public Service Commission is a pre-adoption water customer or sewer customer or water and sewer customer bill notice pursuant to the West Virginia Code, Chapter 24-4B. And that is going to be mailed out to each of the residents in the village. I have advised the office staff that they can put both the notice for the water and the notice for the sewer in the same envelope, but I see that they have been photocopying them over there to mail them out, and that is to be mailed out. I've requested they mail them out either the 3rd or the 4th, which would be tomorrow or the next day, so that the customers, being the citizens of Bethlehem, get that notice that's required by the law now. And I have prepared a news release from the mayor. The Public Service Commission wants you to get a newspaper article published, even though you're required to publish a legal notice, an ad, and pay the newspapers for it. They're very expensive. So, you know, they think we could just get the newspapers to do what we want. Luckily, I know somebody in the newspaper. I think all of you do too. And I have prepared it for the mayor, and I've got a copy for him tonight and for Matt, and it will be delivered to the newspaper tomorrow morning. I have arrangements to deliver to John McCabe tomorrow morning. So those are all the matters that have been going on. It's a lot of paperwork to do one of these. It's a lot of work accounting-wise, a lot of work legal-wise. So I'm going to read by title. The same principles apply to each of the ordinances. I'm going to read first by title only the water rate increase. And if you all recall, the purposes or the reason for this was one, City of Wheeling raised our water rates 12%, and that we've had a significant increase in cost, just like every other municipality, since the last time that there was an increase, and that was 7 years ago. And if you look, to the best of my knowledge, these rates are still the lowest. They're lower than Philadelphia, they're lower than Valley Grove, and they're certainly lower than the City of Wheeling. You have a financial responsibility as a council person to support and make sure that the water system and the sewer system run efficiently. The law says that. You're required to do it. Nobody wants their rates increased. I just got the big increase from Wheeling, and nobody wants it. But I've checked the other municipalities, and I think Jamie represents one of those municipalities too, and their rates are higher. The new rates are going to be higher, even higher than ours. So I'm going to read, for first reading, please, an ordinance of the Council of the Village of Bethlehem adopting increased water rates and charges for the water utility service provided by the Village of Bethlehem and setting an effective date for such rates. I need a motion to pass it and a second and vote.
I make a motion. I'll second.
Okay, a motion's been made, seconded. Is there any question on the motion? There to be no question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Okay, then I'll turn to the sewer side of the equation. All the matters that I just talked about apply to both the water and the sewer. And the sewer rate from the from the City of Wheeling was 45% to us. And it's been 12 years, my recollection, I have to look at my ordinance, I think it's 9 years since the last time we had to have an increase. So for our first reading tonight, an ordinance of the Council of the Village of Bethlehem adopting increased rates and charges for the sewer utility service provided for the village of Bethlehem and setting an effective date for such rates. I need a similar motion and second.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, a motion was made, second. Is there any question on the motion? If there be no question, I would entertain. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
And that's all I would have, Mayor.
Tim?
Yes, I have a article of new business I'd like to discuss with council. On Friday of last week, my father-in-law was in his backyard, sitting on his back patio with his dog, and out of nowhere, 2 pit bulls came running around the side of the house and attacked his dog and began mauling his dog. He tried to use a golf club to ward off the animals, turned on the hose and tried to use the hose to spray the animals. None of that worked, so he physically tried to grab the pit bull that was attacking his dog, and the pit bull turned and ripped his thumb off. And so he was taken to the hospital with the thumb. Don't mean to be too graphic. It was determined that they couldn't reattach it, so Joe has lost 3/4 of his left thumb. The dogs had been fostered by a resident 7 houses down. They were let out. They didn't know the side gate was open. The pit bulls escaped the house and ran down the street. Somehow turned at the right house and found a dog laying there and decided it was time to attack that dog. The worst part about it is, on any other day of the week, my kids would have been there. In the backyard with the dog, my kids would have been mauled. His kids live right next door and play with my kids, and they would have been mauled. Police were called. Officer Nolan came over, did a great report, did a good thorough investigation, went down to the hospital and talked to my stepmom and dad, or my in-laws, I mean. Got their side, spoke to the resident. The resident said, yes, those are my dogs. Neither the county nor the village have any ordinance that protects them in this matter. We have the city of Wheeling has a vicious dog ordinance. Those dogs could have been deemed vicious, penalties could have happened, whatever, the issue would have been handled. The village nor the county have anything that stops that from happening. That's got to change. We got to change that.
I know what we have is like a leash law, and that doesn't carry much teeth.
Absolutely. So what I did was research the city of Wheeling's dangerous and vicious dog ordinance. There are a lot of good things in it. There's a lot of things that I don't think we need. I don't think we need to create a database of everybody that owns a Rottweiler or a Pit Bull, because I don't think it's the dog's fault. I think it's the trainer's fault. I think it's the owner's fault for teaching their dog to bite somebody's hand off. So I don't think we need to, if Steve buys a Pit Bull, he doesn't need to call the village and say, hey, I own a Pit Bull, it's a vicious dog, put me on your list. I'm not sure we need that. But what I'd like to do, with the permission of everyone here, is work with TCE to create a village vicious dog ordinance so that something like this doesn't happen again, or if it does, there's penalties. Because the dude lost his thumb, his dog's, neck's all ripped up, legs all ripped up, and they were sitting on their back porch. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't have happened. And if my kids would have been there, I can't even begin to explain what I would have done. So I'd like to ask councilors' permission to work on this.
You're going to submit your homework to TC so we can.
If TC likes, I'll write the ordinance. I'm drafted based on what Wheeling did, because I think there's a lot of good things in Wheeling's ordinance. I'm happy to work with him. I'm happy to work for him. I'm happy to work in whatever capacity you see fit, but I think it needs done sooner rather than later.
Okay, well, why don't you submit what you have and let him do his thing for you, so.
I'll have it to you by the end of the week.
Tim, I would think,
We'll
Sorry,
meet
Tom.
with you.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem doing it, although there is some, remember again, there's some remedy there. If they let the dogs out violate on the leash.
That's what I
Leash
thought
law.
too. Nolan didn't charge him with that. I don't want to fault Nolan for anything because his,
Well, that's.
my wife was panicking. Her dad's down there with his, waiting to go into surgery at 9 o'clock at night. She's trying to clean up the dog because they had to leave the dog there to get him to the hospital. So she was panicked. The neighbor was panicked. There was a lot of hysteria there. So I don't want to fault Nolan for anything, but I want to make sure something like this can't happen again. Or if it does, there's.
It's not too late to charge, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's a misdemeanor, you got 30 days.
Okay. Then I'll talk to Nolan tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it can be done, but I'll be glad to work with you.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to see the police report, I came down this morning and got Nolan's police report. It's a really good report. If anybody wants to read it, it's right here. And if anybody wants to look over Wheeling's ordinance, I can email it to you or everything. I kind of highlighted some of the stuff that I thought would go really well in our ordinance. There's some things that we don't need. And then we would just have to determine whose decision it is. Because the way Wheeling works right now is if there's an attack such as this in the city of Wheeling, the dog warden goes and does his investigation like he did last week. Talks to residents, the police do their investigation. They then go to Wheeling city manager, and it's up to Wheeling city manager to determine that to be a vicious dog. Once it's determined that that's a vicious dog, you're the first person I looked at, the owner of the dog, you can be fined, or we can say that attack was so heinous that you have to destroy the dog. I'm not sure that should fall on the mayor, whoever the mayor is. That decision, I think, should fall on council. We meet every 2 weeks, so I think that's ample time for the police to do their investigation, submit to council what they found, and council to make a decision. Do you guys have a thought on that? Should it be a one-person decision, or should it be a 7 or 8 person decision?
I think group too.
Okay, then that's how I'll write it.
And I think, Tim, I think we should just keep it as pet and not name a dog, not say a dog. Any pet, could be a cat, it could be a.
Yeah, I don't think we should highlight breeds. I honestly,
I agree.
I think it's as much the owner trainer as it is the dog. I grew up with 7 Doberman pinchers in my house. Kids ran in and out of my house on Oak Circle day in and day out. Not a single one got bit because we trained our dogs not to bite.
I have one question. I know the ordinance is not great, but enough.
Mhm.
It should say in there about a fence. Has to be 6 foot.
Right.
Do we
I
have
didn't
any
like that
area-
either.
We have any areas in Bethlehem that you're not allowed to have a fence?
They just have to be 5 feet off your property line.
You can't have multiple states.
They don't have to be, Tim, unless
Not a
it's
building.
permanent, it has to be permanent structure. You can
I
have a
thought any
fence.
fence had to be.
No, it can be
It
right
could
on.
be right on your line.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
We suggest they keep them back a foot for maintenance.
Right.
but
No, it's a permanent structure.
So they
no,
kind
it's
of
not a
mandate
problem.
almost like a pen that's roofed, a roofed
Right.
pen that has to be secure on all sides. I don't know if, I think a fence is okay. It could be a 6 foot high fence.
Yeah, my question was, is there an area that you live in that
No.
you're not allowed to
Not
have
allowed
a
to have
fence
a fence,
erected? Because I've seen plenty of like you talk about Wolf Estates. You don't see too
Are there
many
any
fences.
sub
You
or
can
any?
have, most of them say from the front building line back, you can fence. They don't wanna see a fence going in front of the house to the street, but I don't know them all.
I'm just throwing that out there because I know
You
the
don't
fence.
see no fences there. That's for
You don't
sure.
see very many fences really in Bethlehem at all. No, I'm not saying they're not here, but not a bunch.
Just pools but I think it should just say pets and not
Okay.
any particular animal.
I agree.
That way you're
Cat.
covered by anything
Cat,
that
dog.
gets,
So if council's okay, I'm gonna start writing.
Send me a copy of each of those things you have.
Okay. I'll take that as a yes. Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
Sorry about the loss.
Joe lives at 24 Hickory Lane. Dale's his next door neighbor. Lives at 22. He's got a fence. The entrance to Joe's backyard where they came in is about like that. It's about like that. The odds of that, to me, were astronomical. That those dogs ran from 7 houses down, from 41 to 24, and turned back there. It just blows my mind.
Was it 2 dogs?
There were 2 dogs. According to the report, only one of the dogs really attacked. The other one was kind of just standing there barking and running around. One of the owners of the dog came down almost as it was ending, and with a leash and was able to secure her dog. But by that time, Joe's thumb had already been ripped off, and Sid was, Joe was dragging him into the house, or Charlene was dragging Sid into the house, I think. So, just another, man, my kids were there. That could have been my 8-year-old that got mauled.
Yeah.
Could have been his
We
5
need-
or 6-year-old that
We
got
need
mauled.
that to say the custodian of the dog.
It
too,
does.
not-
It's,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's in there. Thank you, that's all I have.
Okay, is there any other new business to come before council tonight? One of the things I'd like to mention, I received a call from George Sassine, who's the president of the board of the fire department, and they're getting ready to put in their utilities, like water line, sewer line, and gas line. And one of the things he was asking, he was wanting to know if we could, if council would approve running the, they're gonna run it, they're gonna have a 6-inch line go to their building because of the sprinkler system and everything. And he was wondering if the village would run the water line from the point of origin, which would be on our 8-inch line on Chapel Road there into the building. And then also that's gonna come across Chapel Road, but then there's a sewer line, the sanitary sewer is proposed to go out the back and tie anything down the village. I've talked to Ben about this, and he's kinda working on it. The gas, I'm not interested in, but what he has in mind is have a contractor come in and put the trenches and dig the trenches for the water, for the sewer, and the gas line. And he was wondering if the village would put in the 6-inch line to the building, right to the outside of the building, where it goes in the building, because that's where it's gonna tie into the sprinkler system. So what I'd like to throw this out, if council would allow that to be done. Normally, what we do, we take it up to the property line, and then it's for the property owner to bring it back to the house. The sewer line, water line, gas line, I'm not sure what the drill is there, so. But what I'd like to do is tell George we'll do this, or we won't do this, or, but would it be all right to let our village crew take, after they tap the line on the 8-inch line on Chapel Road there, and take it over across the road? They're gonna have to either tunnel or ditch the road. They're in the process of getting permission from the state to cut the road, which is normal procedure, and wanting to know if the village crew could take the line and run it up to the building for them.
How many feet's that from the edge of the road?
Well, yeah, in other words, the village crew will take, and they'll tap in the water line and take it across.
He asked how many feet.
How many feet?
How many feet?
Yeah, from the.
That I don't know.
The original, where, if you had intended for a resident to the building, how many feet is that?
It varies at times, it varies.
No, he's asking, what he's asking is, what we normally do is go to the property line.
Yeah.
How many additional feet are we talking?
That I don't know, but I
Okay.
better get back to you.
Is that the same
50
with the
feet?
sewer line? I'm sorry,
A bit
Mark,
more.
go ahead.
No, this
50,
is
60.
on the water line. Now, the sewer's gonna have to come out of the backside of the building, because they're gonna go down over the hill, which they've,
Are they asking us to do the sewer as well?
No, we'll
Okay.
have to probably
Yeah,
do
so
the
they're
same thing with
Okay,
sewer.
all we're doing is the water line.
Water line, yeah.
It's approximately 70 feet.
Well,
70
I
feet
should
of
ask
water line.
Randy here, the walk, you know.
I think if we can legally do it, I suggest we do it for them. If nothing else, we haven't done anything else. That's a great project, and I think that we should do it.
I would have no problem with it if it's allowed under PSC regulations, as long as they're willing to sign something that says if something breaks in that 70 feet 2 years from now, it's on them, it's not on us. So we can't constantly maintain the front. If we have to dig up, so say there's a break
Yeah.
10 years from now, are we gonna have to dig up all their concrete? Well, you put that line in, you gotta dig it up and fix it. We really shouldn't do that for, I'm happy to do it, but we really shouldn't do it. Are we getting into trouble
Liability
down the
on
road?
Yeah.
You
Well,
could
that's
probably exclusively say, like, listen, we're gonna do this for you, but.
I need something signed.
Yeah, that's
We'd
fine.
have to have something
I
signed.
agree with that.
Yeah.
I'd just like to see what the approximate cost, that way we
Yeah.
all know, hey, we donated $5,000 to the fire department for labor.
Right.
I mean, this doesn't count material, does it?
No, the fire department would have to buy the material.
I'd just like to know what our labor costs would be, just so we can bring it up and say, here's what we
And
need.
would it be better to donate the money and let someone else do it, or?
It would.
Say again, Tom?
You're only permitted to go to the property line.
Right.
That's the Public Service Commission's rules with water, sewer, and the maintenance of them, and the breakage of them, so forth. So,
Well,
it'd
that's
be much,
the rule
be much
according
better
to-
if the village made a donation of that amount of money to them and assume no liability. Just, you just make a donation, put it on the record if that's what it was, what it's to be used for, and that way you have no responsibility and you're.
Can we get a dollar figure and a sketch or something?
Right, that's what I was, Dawn, would you be willing, what is it, HP that does the water stuff for us?
HVAC.
Would you be willing to contact them and ask them to price that, what the cost would be for them to do the work?
Okay,
And then at the next meeting, we'll approve a donation in that amount to the fire department to pay HP Excavating to put in the water line?
okay.
Should we get
That makes
bids on the excavation of
I
it?
think they're gonna be pretty fair.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
HP's really done us good
Yeah, they
in the
have.
past, right?
So you're familiar with this company?
Yeah, they've
Okay.
done a lot up
Is
there.
that something you do?
Yeah, they will.
Yeah, we do that stuff too.
No.
Oh, yeah, Dale's.
Dale's company does that too.
Yes, they let them bid.
What's the name of your company?
Ohio, West Virginia Excavating.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we also own Contractor Supply.
Would you like to bid that?
We would throw a number to that, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think it would be fair to.
We
We
meet
bid
2
the
Mondays
building-
from
We
now.
bid the building with Colliani.
Yeah. We meet 2 Mondays from now.
Okay,
So he'll submit one too.
okay.
He'll need to know the footage.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
go through.
That's easily obtainable.
yeah.
You
I
said-
could be wrong, but
You
it's
said it
close.
was about 70 foot?
Yeah, plus or minus.
Yeah.
More than like plus, but.
Well, that way too, HP and Dale can talk to George or Jacob or whoever and just, get exactly where it needs to be and,
Yeah.
get how deep, all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, that'll be,
Got apples to apples.
yeah, and then we would donate
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, be
It's
behind
something,
that.
that way when we do it, there's a piece of paper with the drawing and so much, and it can go right into the files, which is.
In 10 years from
Yeah.
now.
20,
Can't
30
be
years.
questioned.
Yeah.
So that's-
Yeah.
TC we're going to.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Tom.
TC.
Okay.
What else?
At the next thing, one other thing under new business, would like to adjourn into an executive session, but first, I'd like to see if anybody here in the audience wants to be heard on any issues so that you don't have to wait. We might be in executive session for 3 hours. I kind of doubt it, but anyway.
Don't say that.
No, but anyway, Teresa, do you want to say something?
Yeah,
Stand up and give the, I know you, but
okay,
tell
everybody
council your
knows
name.
me except for the new ones. My name's Teresa Case. I live
Can you take
at
your
the
mask
corner
down,
of
please, to
Chapel
talk?
Road and Bachman Drive. And on last Thursday, about 20 to 8, I was rear-ended on 470 by a big white utility truck that was going way too fast. I know we have somebody sitting on 470 going east in the afternoon, but maybe there should be somebody sitting up there in the morning too. Because, this guy hit me so hard. I have a Forester. He hit me so hard that my back windshield, it didn't break, it crystallized. It's in my trunk, it's in my back seat, and it's even on my dashboard.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. But as of right now, and they don't know all the damages yet because they haven't put it on a computer, but just physically looking at it, it's over $7,500. And the car has a sunroof that I never ever used, so that shutter was closed tight, because it's never been open. That impact was so hard that it jarred it open halfway.
So maybe one of the things that we can do, because, you know, it's tough, especially in the mornings with only one officer, maybe we can ask the state or the county to help us. You know, maybe we're willing to take Monday, Thursday, and they're willing to take Tuesday, Wednesday, and the county can take Friday, Saturday to give some extra patrols. That way it doesn't all fall on our one officer here.
What time of day did this happen, Teresa?
It was, I left the house at 7:30, and I went and got on, 470 up here at the
Okay,
bridge.
uh,
So it was about 20 to 8.
Okay, that's, okay, 20. And what day of the week was it?
It was Thursday.
Thursday, okay. Did you report it to our police?
Yeah, I called 911.
Okay.
The officer came out, they did a police report and everything. But, after I safely got over into that 4 lane, because, we merged down at the bottom of the hill, I'm driving down, and I look back, and there's nobody behind me, and I can see all the way up to the bridge. There's nobody behind me. The next thing, I feel this jolt, and I thought it was like a deer that came, like across the road. I look back, and all I can see is a white. So I made my way over to the berm and everything, and it was one of those big white utility trucks. And he said he was sorry. He said that his brakes didn't work, and he didn't see me. How in the world could he not see me?
Okay, you
And
did
a
catch the
forester.
guy that hit you though.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a hit and run.
This is why, right?
Okay, well, thank
Yeah.
you for that.
Yeah.
But somebody's got to sit in the morning, if there's any possibility, so nobody else gets that. Because he could have killed, he could have killed me, but he didn't. And he could have hurt other people if I would have lost control of my car, which I didn't.
Maybe it's worth working with the state and the
Yeah.
county to, that'd be hard for our one guy to do it all every day.
Yeah.
But maybe we can work together and pick days between the
Yeah,
three.
we do a pretty good job at nighttime on
Yeah.
the interstate, but there's one guy and there's not that much
Right,
traffic.
right, so it's hard,
Different
so-
times, that's the reason I was asking what time.
Good chance to work together.
I didn't see that report yet, so I usually review those.
Glad you're okay, Teresa.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, I'm glad you're here and able to get around.
Yeah, I am too.
Okay, well, thanks for your story.
Right there with you.
Okay. Is there anybody else that wants to?
Yeah, Tim I'm Dale Lewis, I live on 22 Hickory Lane. I just kind of want to echo what Tim said about the dog. I mean, my kids are 5 and 7. They're now afraid to play in our front yard because this dog is still in that house.
Yeah.
And we haven't heard anything from the dog warden whether they're going to remove this dog, because every day my kids play with his kids next door. Now I have a fenced in yard, but it shouldn't be dogs like that shouldn't be allowed out.
You shouldn't have to live in fear.
You shouldn't have to live in fear. I mean, our kids walk up and down that street. That's why we moved to Bethlehem, because we love it up here. And for that to happen to Joe, I mean, it's sick. So I just implore you to please, look at this ordinance.
Yeah,
And if
well,
there's any way we can get that dog out of where we live, I would greatly appreciate it. And I know my kids
Yeah.
will greatly
Well,
appreciate
I'm
it.
glad Tim brought that up and kind of.
Well, I'm glad he did too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons.
It's not good at, lock the barn after the cow's out in the field.
I mean, I have two
Yeah.
dogs and we keep them locked in all the time. They're 2 golden doodles, so they don't, they're very docile dogs. They probably would have got killed too.
And that gets back to the owners of the dogs, how they're trained. I know different breeds of dogs. Some are nice and then some are not so nice too.
And I believe she fosters.
Yeah, I was going to
So
say,
it's-
to the
it's not
owner's
like-
to the owner's account, to the owner's testament, I believe those dogs are fostered, so they weren't trained and raised by the people that live at 41. I do want to make that clear.
And I just hope that if she does give these dogs away to someone else, that they understand what these dogs did before they go to a new owner. And I don't know how we can do any of that stuff, but I just want to make sure that that's her. The other thing I want to say, I do work for Ohio Western Excavating, and I'm willing to help out, looking at roads, doing whatever you guys need. I've lived here for about 8 years.
You do ceiling too?
We don't do ceiling.
Oh, okay.
That's
Okay.
heavy highways, bridges, water, sewer, piling walls. We're a very, very large company out of Shady Side, Ohio. We also own Contractor Supply, which is right down here. So if you guys need supplies, I'd be willing to work with you guys to get materials.
Okay.
Also own an aggregate yard in Moundsville.
Do you have a card you can leave with me?
I don't, but I can stop back and
Okay,
drop
if
it
you would,
off.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
You can't tell the horses without a program.
that's right.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Thanks,
Okay,
Dale.
thank you. Chris?
came over with one thing. I've listened to the meeting. I've got about 10, but I'll just stick to the one I came for. Some of you may or may not know, over the last 6 days, maybe 5-6 days, we had an incident on Orchard Lane. By the way, I live at 105 Orchard Lane. My name's Chris Rickley. Should have told you that first. We had a person who had left an apartment they lived on Orchard to basically squat in a house they didn't belong in that was for sale next to Don. And when this owner from Georgia found out somebody was living that she was living in the house, they came back in the middle of the night. Obviously, a fight occurred. She tossed all the stuff out into the street. The stuff's still piled in the street today. So the reason I'm here is, one, it's a real hazard. I mean, at one point, it's dwindled down a little bit, the pile, but at one point there was not a chance we were getting a fire truck or an ambulance through there. You would have to stop, let the neighbors go through. For 2 nights, they slept in their car on the street. This woman and a gentleman she's with now. And I learned that she also defecated behind Mr. Otten's vehicle in the middle of the night. I mean, we can't let this go on. My understanding is she may be in jail right now, but why I'm here is we have no set time or set date of when this stuff's going to be removed. And I talked to one of our officers, and he was kind of like, well, you know, private property, you got to be careful what you do, blah, blah, blah. It's sitting on a public roadway, so it's not on private property. And so at some point we either have to say, this has to be removed by Tuesday, or we're hauling it away. Now, either, you know, I understand maybe you can't get rid of it, but we can't leave it on the city street. It has to go. I don't care if it goes in the garage down here or the village. My opinion is village rents a storage facility, put it in it, and she gets charged for the time that it's in there. But you can't leave it on, we can't leave it there. It's been there 6 days. And she's homeless at this point, so where's it gonna go? So the reason I'm here, and I guess the question I'm asking is, are we gonna set some kind of date, or are we gonna do something with this stuff before something bad happens?
TC, if it's on the street for a certain amount of time, does it instantly become public property?
Not public property, it's trash.
It's trash, so if we tell Yakum Refuse,
What day do they come pick up your trash?
if we tell Yakum Refuse on Thursday morning, hey, you're gonna see something in front of whatever the address is, pick it up and we'll pay the $30 fee and then put a lien on this lady, are we within our rights to do that?
You can do that, you put the lien on it, you're not gonna ever.
Right, but it's also only gonna be $30. I mean, the cost isn't the issue.
I'm just confused from the story. The person who was in an apartment illegally went in a house and was squatting,
That's correct.
but then the owner found out?
Yes. The owner was.
But the owner's in Georgia?
The owner moved here from Georgia, bought a house next to Dawn, lived here for, I don't know, maybe a year, Dawn, maybe?
No, she was there a couple of years.
Doesn't matter. She leaves, goes back to Georgia, puts a for sale sign in the front yard. This young lady became her friend because their kids went to school together. So she said, well, I'll take care of selling the house for you. I'll let people in to see it and what have you. So she had the code to get into the house. But that's all she was supposed to be doing. Instead, she decided I guess her and her boyfriend had it out, and she left the apartment and decided to move into this empty house.
Well, how did this stuff, was
The
this
owner
stuff thrown
came
out
back-
from the apartment or thrown out from the
No,
house?
it was thrown out from the house. What, actually,
Who
it's,
threw it out?
actually it's thrown out from both. And there's a whole nother issue. We have her stuff also sitting outside this apartment, but that's on private property. So I don't know what we do with that.
Let me address this, because we've been out of the way. I've been involved in that, having next door, I'm up to here with this thing.
I'm sure
Now,
you are, Dawn.
they had since, I told them, they had since last Wednesday to get rid of the stuff. And each day, oh yeah, we're working on it, okay? Finally, yesterday morning, I was told that there'd be a van there this morning and would have the rest of it gone. Now, what this girl has been doing, she's been over there and she's been going through this stuff. And you tell her and you get on one subject and she mentions 6 other subjects. She's not.
Well, at some point, I mean, there's been times, Don, I've gone by there,
Okay,
she's standing in the middle of the road.
Okay.
Somebody's gonna either get killed or.
I'm aware of it and I'm trying to take care of it, but I was gonna run to see what if I took that property and took it to the Goodwill or Salvation Army, what could be salvaged, would it come back on us because the village took it and did something with it? But I've been
Well,
promised.
that's what I'm saying, as long as it's on a public roadway, I gotta believe that we have the right to do that.
Okay.
I'm not saying we throw this lady's stuff away. You know, I'm a fairly decent person. That's why I said, hey, maybe the village, maybe we store this somewhere, because maybe she will have the ability to come get it. I'm not saying store it for 2 years.
I kinda doubt it. I've been promised day after day and it's getting old. And she was told today, right now she's down in the pokey.
But there's the
Just throw it
problem.
away, Don. Just throw it away.
We say a
You
day.
won't be liable.
But then the next day goes, and now we're into 6 days.
Don,
Okay,
listen.
I've been
tomorrow
promised
I'm gonna
day
come-
after day after day and nothing's been
I
done.
know
And
that,
this is
but I'm
what,
gonna come home from work tomorrow and the stuff's still gonna be there. is what
well,
I'm
I don't
getting at.
know, but it
Don.
might not be.
Don, we're not liable. If we just throw it away, it's on our street. We're not liable. It would be okay to just have Yakim's pick it up and throw it away.
Well,
You're
I
not
was-
gonna get sued. Nothing bad's gonna
I was
happen.
even gonna have our backhoe go and put it in our truck and take it away.
Just call Yakim when they're there on Thursday.
That'll work.
Just say pick it up. We'll pay whatever the cost. It's only gonna be $30. What's $30? It's no
Well, I
big
don't
deal.
know, it'd be $30. They might charge you more for, you don't. know
Whatever
how
it
this
is,
stuff is.
it doesn't matter.
I-
Whatever it is.
I wanna get rid of it.
Right. So just call Yakim and have them pick it up.
Yeah.
How much stuff is it?
There's a pile, I'm gonna say from the fence of the yard, as wide as that desk, and from here to that desk long. And then there's also some stuff that's in the driveway and hanging over the fence. Now, whether or not you could legally get away with taking that stuff,
don't think you can.
Who put this stuff there?
the owner of the home took the stuff out of the home and put it out in the street. She was kicking her out of there because she didn't belong there.
She
I
entered
mean,
without
this is documented by our police force here. They have, you know, I know Bill Nolan was involved in it.
Been there, made report?
The sheriff's department's been there, the state police have been there.
And what's the woman in jail for now?
I believe assault, but I can't tell you that for sure.
What's her name?
I only know her first name, and it's, Dawn, do you know her name? Molly something. Do you know her last name?
Yes. Yes, every one of our policemen have been exposed to her.
I understand.
And she's not straight, okay?
I understand.
Okay, well, I'm trying to get the thing resolved, Chris.
But
I live
I-
right next to it and have to put up with it and put up with a lot of crap,
I know.
okay?
I know.
And I don't, and I wanna clean the street up. But my thing is, I wanted to talk to TC to see what prerogative, whether I could get it removed without anything coming back.
And that's
biting
fine,
us.
and that's the only reason I'm
Okay,
here, is to
okay.
find out what we're gonna do
Yeah.
about it. I mean, it's been
It's
6
been
days.
working on, okay? One further thing, she's down in jail now. They arrested her tonight.
Understood. I also pay taxes and live here.
Well,
and
I
expect
understand,
my
I do
neighborhood to
too, and I
let a
live
certain
right next to
way,
it.
and
I'm trying to get it
Wow.
done. My hands are tied to a certain extent, Chris.
Well,
Please
I don't think
understand.
they are.
This is not a pleasant thing. She's over there messing around and everything, and you can't talk to her. And I made some suggestions to her, and then I get bad mouthed, F this, F that, you know, the common English of people that aren't uneducated. It's a mess. I have to live with it, but I want to get it taken care of. For one thing, it's an eyesore, and it's another thing, it's a safety reason. If we had to take an engine down there, he could probably get by, but it'd be awful close. But then he'd be running over
Now you
another
can probably
street.
get by. For 3 days, they
Right.
couldn't have gotten by, but now she did get rid of some of the junk, but.
Yeah, but you know, some of that stuff it's borrowed property too that she has. She's been taking it out of different houses. So
Mr.
there's
Mayor.
a lot more than what meets the eye. And
Mr. Mayor, we have been told tonight by our solicitor, if it is on the roadway, it is garbage. It doesn't matter whose property it is.
Okay, what
It
if
is-
it's on property?
It's, we're not talking about that. We don't need to
Yeah,
worry about that.
later.
We're worried about what's on the
later.
road.
First.
That is our property. That garbage is obstructing our property now.
Right.
We have a right to go to the end of the roadway. That's all we need to do. Make sure the residents can drive by. make sure a fire truck or an ambulance can get by. That's what we need to do. Call the
Start there.
garbage company.
Start there.
Take
Just
pictures
You
of,
wanna take
take,
something
I
that-
understand, take a breath,
take pictures
but
of
start
it.
there.
Here, Tom's talking and this'll settle it quick.
Take pictures of it with the policeman there. Detail what's there. Okay? Pictures, one sofa, one this, one that, make a list, pick it up, do what Tim said, or take it somewhere and store it. You know, it's trash on the roadway. It's inhibiting the use of the roadway. Now, the private property, the lady from Georgia, what's on hers is on hers. We can't go take that. But everything's to be documented and pictures taken.
We do.
We
do
have an
enforce that.
ordinance for
Sure.
like keeping your property clean, so
Right.
if this stuff on her property but in the yard and stays there,
That
I'm
is
sure
not
that
her
ordinance
property,
could
though,
be,
see.
Well, somebody needs to call her and say, look, you do the same thing we do, get rid of it.
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
If I'd have known that,
No, I agree.
I'd done that last week.
It's all right. Start there. Start with the road. Start with the stuff on the road, and then go from there.
And that's what Chris is complaining
That's an
about.
easy. Don't
Yeah,
get
start
worked
on
up.
the road, but see, some of it's still,
Don't get worked up. Start with what's on the road, and then process it out from there. That's the solution. Okay.
Well, as long as council knows about it and
Start with
is
the road.
cool with it and wants to go that way, that's fine.
Start with the road.
I'm fine with having the village take it and dump it, or call Yocum and have them get rid of it as
Yeah,
well.
I wouldn't have our guys do it. Just if there's drugs or anything else in there, just let Yonkums do it.
We don't know what it's all in there.
Right. That's
No,
why
we
just
don't
let
care
Yonkums
either.
do it.
They come up with a pickup truck, they don't have to have a.
Right.
There's
Pickup
furniture
truck, there's
right-
not enough, you'd have to have a
Well,
tandem.
then they come up with
They come
two.
up with a dump
Yeah,
truck.
they'll do it.
They can
They'll
haul
do
it
it.
out.
They'll take it.
Open truck, in it, out the door.
Yeah. Whatever it costs, pay it. It's fine. Chris, I'm sorry. Thank you.
No, it's fine, I just need a date, you know what I mean? You can't say tomorrow, okay, and then say tomorrow, and keep saying tomorrow. You know, because she's gonna leave it there until somebody does something about it.
But we probably can't give you an exact date, but as you heard,
No, I-
we're
no.
gonna
Yeah, there are
address
legal
the issue.
restrictions that stop us from doing certain things, and that's.
Right,
something to me
no,
like
and I
we're trying to
understand
work
that.
through.
You know, I'm a landlord, I understand that, you know, there's, private property things, there's certain things you can do and procedures, but, you know, it's always been my understanding if it's on a public roadway, then.
Sounds like
then-
they've been working on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we've heard from all three, okay. The next thing is we want to go into executive session